What's going on, everybody?
It's Monday.
Yes, the day our season came to an end yesterday.
That's par for the parcel, though. You guys should be used to it.
You're not wrong. You know why? You know why we're used to it? This guy right here. You know, in 28
he was
years,
looking pretty pissed in those stands last night. It was pretty nice to see.
Fine.
I thought it was hilarious.
You should be pissed. You're at home. You have the next 2 games at home if you win. If you win. Once again, and everybody says, what's the problem the Cowboys got? In 28 years, he is the one constant thing we've had to deal with the team. And the biggest mistake that ever happened was when he brought in Barry Switzer, and Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl with Jimmy's team, but it did happen. And because of that, now I can get one of 500 coaches can coach a team to a Super Bowl because he did it. And his ego will not let it get. I mean, it's such an. I'm so lost for words when it comes to him because, I know as an owner he means to do right for the team, but even he said if I had a general manager perform the way I performed for the last how many years, I would have fired him. Well, you're the general manager. Take yourself out of the equation. Just be the owner. Because here's the thing. When you're the general manager of a football team, you are the guy that's going to make the business decisions. You're the ones that has to make the hard decisions to make your team better. If you're the owner, you're a fan. You want to have everything. You cannot mix the two together.
Yeah.
And I mean, heads are going to roll. I don't know if they're going to. I mean, honestly, Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott did a great job in the regular season. Can't say anything about the playoffs. They did really well coming together and working well as a team. The problem is
they also had a really, really easy schedule.
Yeah, but once again, you got to play who's on your schedule, right? That's schedule maker. That's not the Cowboys. I mean, if they take on the schedule they had this year and lost all those games, you always sit there and go, well, they can't beat anybody. Well, they had to beat somebody on their schedule, so they beat the easy teams.
No, I mean, they beat who they had to beat. That's kind of like what I said about Liberty. Like, Liberty was undefeated, and then we had to face a really, really good team in Oregon, and we got the shit kicked out of us. But that's kind of what happened to the Cowboys last night. Like, for most of their season, they barely played any teams with more than 5 wins. I think the first half of their season, they hadn't played anyone with more than 5 wins.
But then again, the argument is this.
They played a really good team, and they got their shit stopped.
Right. But the argument is it the Cowboys' fault the other teams can't win 5 games? No.
No, it's not their fault, but it shows that
it's just who's on your schedule. Right. So, but either way you look at it, I mean, look, here's the thing. Green Bay came prepared. Dallas didn't. I don't know if Dallas thought it was going to be a cakewalk because it was at home. But either way you look at it, they're home now, and now either – you got your Eagles playing tonight against the Bucks. You got the, I believe, Green Bay will be taking on San Francisco in San Francisco. You got the Lions advance, so the Eagles or Bucks will play the Lions next. So that'll be interesting to see where we go with this. And the NFL playoffs rolls on without the Dallas Cowboys yet again. That's just how.
I'm still curious about the Ravens game. That's today too, isn't it? At 3?
No, Ravens don't play this week.
Oh no, they're next week.
No, it's the Bills and the Steelers.
They'll play the winner of that game, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. By the way, I love the NFL fans that sit and go, "Oh, what? Buffalo can't play in the snow?" Well, the governor called that a state of emergency. That's why they couldn't get cars on the roads. Then even Pittsburgh stayed in Pittsburgh. So, you can't blame the team for not wanting to play in the snow when the entire governor is saying, yeah, we're going to keep everybody home in this part of the world right now. So let's just do that for safety reasons. So,
yeah, I'm curious to see that game, though, because of that whole conspiracy theory thing. I'm like, wonder how the Ravens are going to do. Oh, Lord, Wiley's here.
Hey, Wiley, what's up, bro? Let's see, what is Wiley telling us here?
He actually kind of saw it.
All right. Yeah, one of our biggest supporters, Wiley Mitchell. Thank you, buddy. We all know that the reason why he watches is because of you. It's not me, clearly.
I don't think he would want to watch because of me because we disagree on a lot. I might be conservative, but I'm not his level of conservative.
That's true. That's true. But by the way, how was your weekend?
Mine was good. It was I just kind of I got the house cleaned. Like I did like a OCD clean of the house because the new semester of school starts today. So I got this semester and then two more and then it's off to law school. So I'm like I'm trying to keep this GPA, like get it up. I got to start studying for the LSAT too, so that'll be a joy. Um and all that shit's expensive too. You got to make a profile with the LSAC, which is the Law School Admissions Council. You have to make like a profile with them. Then you have to sign up for the test. You have to pay for the test. And then you want to make sure that you do good on your first try because some schools will average out your score if you take it more than once.
Hmm.
So this is like you're paying for this and you want to get it right the first time type of shit. So one of the classes that I have this semester is a prep for the LSAT class, so I got to make sure I pay close attention to this class.
Right.
But yeah, I just cleaned and then like I had like a super lazy day yesterday, just like mentally preparing to get back in the grind.
There we are. Well, I had my son this weekend, and he likes to. We have a place out here in Ardmore called Swallows Barbecue. He loves going there. But I was like, hey, there's a barbecue place. It's not new, but it's a little bit north of us in Davis, Oklahoma, called Smoking Joe's Barbecue. Let's go try that. It's like, okay. So we went out there. They give you a platter full of food. It's like $30, but you get what you get.
Yeah.
And it was so good. Um, I know they got some locations over in Dallas as well, or in Texas at least. But we had that. Then whenever I have my son, we're always like, we always go by wheel. Let's watch some movies at the house. We're trying to spend a whole lot of money because going to go see movies is expensive. Going doing anything nowadays is arm and a leg to do it. So we sat home. I was like, so what are you going to watch? And he's like, I don't know. I was like, well, have you seen Forrest Gump? He's like, no.
Classic.
Yes. And so we dove into Forrest Gump, and he came out of that movie with one thing and one thing only. I gotta pay. That's what he got out of it. Now he
I love
loved the
it.
movie. Out of our movies that we watched, he loved that movie the most. Then with football going on at the time, it was what was it? The first game. I can't remember which one it was, but it was the Texans versus the Browns, which
Oh
was an
yeah.
upset. Which was an upset for me, really. I
So
thought
are you
they
gonna vote
were
for the Texans?
no, although I do like the rookie quarterback. I'm not gonna lie, but they are Houston, so I'm kind of against that. But anyway, on I was like, you want to watch a sports movie? He said, yeah, let's watch a sports movie. I was like, what's your favorite football movie, Cooper? He's like, The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. I'm like, that's a good one. So I put on this one,
Oh.
and he loved this movie. And I told him like this is loosely based off a true story back in 1987 because the NFL went on strike back in the day, and they had scab players play for 3 or 4 weeks. And he's like, really? And I showed him on YouTube some games where Kevin Sweeney was a quarterback at the Cowboys in place of Danny White. What's going on?
Wiley.
So nice and yeah. Okay. And then after that, I was like, okay, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. He by the way, Gene Hackman, one of the greatest actors of all time, so you can't go wrong with him. So I was like, okay. It's like, are you up for some action? You up for some comedy? He's like, action. So we went this way. You never
So you
seen
had like
this
a
one.
Keanu Reeves marathon.
Kind of. Well, we take a major left turn with the last movie we watched, but he saw this one. He loved this one. He
I
was like on
love
the
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, and funny, he couldn't remember her, but I'm like, she was a girl in Demolition Man. He's like, oh, okay, because he loved that movie back in the day. So I was all right. So we watched Speed. We watched all these 3 movies. That's like 11 o'clock at night. He's still wound up. He's 13, so hanging with me is his thing. I'm like, all right, well, then I mentioned, I mentioned something about the Boom Boom Room. He's like, what is that? I'm like, you don't know about the Boom Boom Room? And he's like, no, I don't. I was like, oh man. And then I showed him this movie, Life, with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. And he understood what that means now. But there was a running gag between me and my wrestling promoter I work for out in Dallas, Bobby Horn, where um, we were at a restaurant one night after a wrestling show in Denton, and he's like, Trey, you ever gone to the Boom Boom Room? And I'm like, and he was surprised I knew what that meant because I'd seen that movie before. It's my dad's favorite movie, one of his favorite movies before he passed away. And I was like, oh, the Boom Boom Room? Oh, you got to go down to the Boom Boom Room. And we did this whole Eddie Murphy rap thing, whatever. And then he was so impressed I knew about that. So later on, we were watching the movie on Saturday, and I sent him a message because he never sleeps. I'm like, introducing my son to the Boom Boom Room. He's like, oh, yeah, there you go. Get him started young. So a lot of fun we had. And the way he ranked the movies was that's his favorite, second favorite, third favorite, and he liked the movie, but it wasn't as good as the other 3 in his mind. So that was our weekend that we had. Then, of course, taking them home in the blistering cold that was 9 degrees yesterday.
I loved it.
Oh my God! So yeah. I agree. Gene Hackman is one of the all-time greats, and I've seen a picture of him recently, and I'm gonna hate it when we find out that he passes one day, and I got to add him to my group list that I have on Facebook. Because
that's how I felt about Betty White, man. When Betty White went, it hurt my heart. I love me some Betty White.
She was so close.
That's what I aspire to be when I'm older.
What, 100?
Her personality.
Oh yeah, because she was. I mean, like it was kind of like George Burns, right? When George Burns was getting to the point to where he was going to turn 100, that was his life. Let's get to 100, and she was just days away from getting to 100. Just days away. They even had a special dedicated to her 100 years of Betty White, and then she died right before they can air the damn thing. So it was, but that's our weekend. That's our weekend grind, if you will. But we're back on the daily grind. It's Monday. It is now
the beginning of the Iowa caucuses.
Yes, all you crazy Republicans are going to go out there and
the shit
get
show
your earful of all this stuff. Yeah.
The Iowa caucuses are weird though because it's like they do this thing where it's like if your first pick doesn't get, they go to your second pick. It's a really weird doohickey the way that they do it.
So it's a weird beauty pageant.
It's a weird thing in general. Iowa's just one of those odd states. They wanted to be different.
I've been to Iowa before though. It's nice.
That's one of the few states I haven't been to, but I have a friend that lives out there. Yeah, see, Betty White was a G.
Right.
But yeah, that's gonna be a complete shit show. This whole year is just gonna be a shit show. Like, just put on your helmets and strap in. Make sure you buckle your seatbelt because it's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Well, you and I were talking off air that you think Trump's got this thing won hands down right now. So
unfortunately, I don't wish that was the case. I really don't. But it's what it's looking. His supporters. I'll give the Trumpers something, man. They're diehard.
Yes, I know.
Politics. See, I can't stand politics, but also I'm going into law, and law and politics are 2 in 1. So it's like I have to know this shit because it affects my job, and I have to learn about it in school. I've had like 6 classes just on the Constitution alone. Like they drill this shit into you. But I also go to a Christian university, so no woke bullshit, which is nice. That's the whole reason I went to Liberty.
Yeah.
because I don't trust colleges anymore. Like, I don't want my general ed to be like gender studies. Like, I don't give two shits about people's gender studies. Okay, like that has nothing to do with the degree in which I'm trying to get. Like,
No,
so
I heard my daughter during spring break. Her and her boyfriend are gonna fly over to Belgium, and she's looking to get her master's over there. So that's kind of her thing. Once she graduates out of North Texas State or North Texas University, so they're not like North Texas State. But then once she gets out of North Texas, she's gonna head over. She wants to head over to Belgium and get her master's over there. Then I'm not sure if she wants to stay out there or she wants to come back over here. I know her grandpa lives out that way, so that's he kind of migrates between South Carolina and Belgium. So he goes back and forth every 6 months. So
I agree with you, Wiley.
what's that?
He says you'll find you cannot hide from politics. It's like money entwined and turning the world. Also, I'm going to preface this episode today, guys, by saying Gainesville ISD is stupid, and they decided to make this year Tuesday through Fridays for school. So my kids are home on Mondays, which has been like, I love my kids, but it's been a pain in the butt because like I can't find a job or anything because I have to be home on Mondays. And most of the jobs I was looking at for my paralegal stuff, it's all Monday through Friday. And then, so on Mondays, you're going to hear my kids screaming in the background. They're eating breakfast right now, but
Gainesville is Tuesday through Friday.
Yeah, fucking stupid.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really dumb.
So basically, the false thing of let's go and teach our kids to love Monday because you have it off.
How about them Cowboys, Trey?
Yes, Tom. We've discussed this.
Go Texans. Ugh.
I thought you were a Vikings fan there, Tom. Come on now. Come on, Tom. I remember you in high school. You were a diehard Vikings fan. You loved them when the Vikings were.
Was he a flip flopper?
Well, and to Tom's credit, he retired in the Navy as a firefighter. Okay. He lives up in the Northeast area, the upper Northeast area. Okay. He's got a beautiful family and everything else. But every time the Cowboys lose, he's right there to stick it to me, no matter what. So, it's all good. Let's see here. But the Texans running around. Then I'm not a bandwagon fan. All right. Yes, yeah, but the other problem with Walmart is though, Wiley, they don't fit close to the fat guy. You have to go online for that shit, and it's weird because you've seen the people at Walmart, right? They're all big fat people like me. Yeah, for some reason, somehow, whatever reason, you go into Walmart, they take 2 or 3 people to look at you and go, "We can't fit that." Oh no, it ain't gonna work. So no,
they should just price the jerseys at the price that they were the last time you guys won some playoff games.
The
90s.
Yeah, okay. I've heard the argument like, the last time you saw the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, you can watch them on a VCR tape. I'm like, no, we got YouTube. I mean, it's so funny that.
I'll put it this way: the upcoming draft classes and the previous draft class were born after your guys' last Super Bowl.
but you know what though? Hey, look. As bad as this has been for the Cowboys, I know it's easy to pick on them because they're the Cowboys and they're America's team, and they're the ones that we're all going to sit there and shit on.
Team.
Well, whatever.
We didn't vote on this shit.
I know, but here's the thing: you think the New York Jets got any easier? They ain't won since the '60s. You think the Washington Commanders / Redskins had gotten any easier? They ain't won since the Cowboys last one. But no one talks about those teams because why would they want to do that?
Because their fans aren't as loud and obnoxious as Cowboy fans.
Maybe that's true. Well, hey, Tom, if it helps you,
I'm down with that.
I have a coworker that calls them the cow turds. If that helps you any. You can add that to your vocabulary.
Definitely the Cowgirls. They're more famous for their cheerleaders than their football playing anyway.
Well, that's true. That's true. But you know what though? They're the one team that everybody either you have. This is why ESPN always leads with them because you love them or you hate them. There is
So
no
the
in between.
Cowboys are Trump. There's no in between.
Yes, that's right. That's very true. Okay. Of course,
What?
while
Brokeback Mountain?
he thinks Cowboys thinks Brokeback. That's what he thinks. But anyway, yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow when you're a fan. But then again, I should be used to this, right? Got 28 years of just looking at this team and go, really? But then would I be a lesser of a fan if I say, "How the hell with the Cowboys? I'm pulling for the Texans now."
No, because then you're a flip flopper. So I
Yeah,
feel you.
and
I mean, I feel it completely as an Eagles fan. How many times we've gotten to the Super Bowl and then lost the Super Bowl? Like it's absolutely atrocious. Eagle fans are known for getting like right there, and then they let us like something happens and we get let down. Like we get right to the line, and then sorry, no dice. So
it happens.
that's almost more heartbreaking. We get to the Super Bowl and then we lose.
Or you know what? Imagine if you're a Buffalo Bills fan. You went 4 years in a row and you couldn't win, and you haven't been since.
I would cry.
So it happens.
I still have the Super Bowl of 2018 DVD, and I watch it when I need to remember the good old days. That was a great year. We had a great team that year.
I'm a former NFL fan. I know, but you know what? That was in. This is now Wiley, and once in the NFL's fault with that was that they focused more on that part that you talked about. But here's the thing: now that they don't even focus on that anymore, it's just football. And yeah, you can sit there and argue that the players make way too much money, and everybody makes all this amount of money. That's their money, sir. That's how they do their business.
They just
So
need to. I think my biggest pet peeve with the NFL is more of just the weird fines that they give people. Like, and you'll see. I saw some player brought it up on a tweet one day. It was like a year ago, and I was like, "God, that's a great point." He was like, "I got benched for 30 days or like 4 games or whatever for testing positive on a P test or whatever." He was like, "But blah blah blah." It was some player that had just beat the crap out of his girlfriend, which is
yeah,
par for the course for NFL players now. And this guy had got suspended like 1 game or something. Like, so like the weird difference in that.
I'm like, I stay home.
Well, he probably means by buying the jerseys and the merchandise and all that kind of shit. And then when we talk about it, we give them clout. So, I
Well,
mean,
hey, you know what? Here's the
but
thing, though.
I love sports. Other than
Yeah, me too.
the only one I don't watch is basketball because it's just I can't get into basketball. I find it boring. But
I used to get into basketball years ago when the Mavericks were on the verge of starting to win because tickets at Arena were like really cheap at the time. So and at a time when tickets were going up, I mean, you could still get like a $13 ticket to go see Upper Deck basketball or whatever. Well, which is cool for me because I mean, just it was easy right out there, and watch the Mavericks either win or lose, and they were getting really good at the time. Then we saw the first year at the new stadium for a while, and then is what it is. You remember taking me to a Maverick game, Tom? See, it's funny. I don't remember that. I don't remember. I mean, I don't remember you and I seeing an actual basketball game together, Tom. But then again, I've been hitting the head with a lot of chairs, so it's hard to say. So I mean,
but I understand Wiley's point. Like they did get a little obnoxious with the politics for a little while, and like I don't watch the first game of the season when they do like the Black national anthem. I ignore that game completely. That one's we'll start at week 2.
all right.
Just because I think that's absolutely ridiculous, and even my husband thinks it's ridiculous. Um,
Oh, okay.
but
I didn't know that. I didn't recall that, Tom. But that's good to know. I know. Hey, you know what? My dad, for all of his faults that he had, and he had quite a few. Everybody who was my friend really loved my dad. Just loved the hell out of him, and I mean, they thought he was one of the coolest guys in the world. Probably because he worked in the music industry, and they saw the gold albums and everything else. But he was also a very sweet man. So yeah, I can see my dad doing that for you. That's very cool, Tom.
hmm.
Anyway, back to sports.
But yeah, like I can see Wiley's point. It got obnoxious there for a little while, but it's you know
It, be,
they
it
lost
became
a
too,
lot of money during that time though, because a lot of people did stop watching and stopped buying jerseys and stopped. So I think they ish learned their lesson, not completely, but sort of. They kind of like I think they found a middle ground with doing that black national anthem on the first game of the season and just kind of like now everyone's chill. But it's just one of
I,
those things. It's
I don't know.
everywhere. That's why I do watch the Daily Wires every morning they have a sports show called Crane and Company, and I
Mhm.
highly recommend it to sports fans because it's actually um they broadcast it live on X, formerly Twitter. Um but they actually it's just sports the entire time. There's no crapola in it. So I highly recommend it because they it's just it's like the way ESPN used to be.
All right. Well, ESPN's formula now is okay. We're going to start the hour and talk about the Cowboys. We'll gauge those fans for those ratings. Then we'll cut to another sport. Then we'll come back to the Cowboys and start bashing them again. Then we'll go to another sport. Then they go back and forth. Once again, that's how they. ESPN lost a lot of money though in the last 5 years because they've had to cut a lot of shows off their programming. Now they got Pat McAfee who's causing his own controversy with having Aaron Rodgers on there. So it is what it is. But hey, they find a way. It's a Disney model, so they have their fun.
Mm,
But
Disney,
anyway,
whole nother thing.
back to politics. I never thought I'd say that. Back to politics.
My new episode comes out tomorrow. Woo!
yes. In fact, let me grab all my stuff here. I'll see. I'm all over the place. There you go.
Woo!
Yeah, go check out the Middle Ground with Presley Christine. It's
Heck
on
yeah.
YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's everywhere.
Tomorrow's gonna be spicy because we talk about child gender transitioning. NFL turned into Taylor Swift. That's just during Kansas City games. The rest of
Yeah,
it's not too bad.
yeah.
um, but yeah, we talk about child gender transitions and the amount of information that is out there that I think people are just either unaware of or they don't really think it's happening that much. Like they think it's like an outlier. And it's happening so much more than people even realize or understand. And the statistics coming out of it thus far in just short-term studies, it just blows your mind. Um and it's like I understand like teenagers, kids, they're going to feel weird about themselves and they're going to you go through those emotions and you're figuring out who you are and all that jazz, but parents need to make themselves a lot more informed on this stuff and the possible consequences of it because I think we focused a lot in this last generation of like, we grew up with these family traumas, so we were trying to fix the generational curses and the traumas and stuff of our past, and then we instead of being parents, we became their friends. And now Presley got game with their show. Thank you, Wiley. Um and now it's like being their friends, now you're helping them make decisions that they shouldn't be making yet and things that they can't really understand the consequences of that young. You know, when you're 12 years old, you're not thinking about the fact that these things might sterilize you because at 12 years old, you're not thinking about having kids.
All
So
right.
that doesn't seem like a big deal to you until you're 30 and now you're having to pay for a surrogate and IVF and freezing eggs and doing all this stuff trying to find a good egg or trying to put your egg in someone else's uterus and it just how Wiley was talking about the money. When you follow the money with a lot of this stuff, it's really crazy.
It's crazy. I'm sitting there with my 13-year-old son, and I can honestly say we don't talk about that kind of stuff.
Because it's
I
a
mean,
parenting thing. They learn it
yeah,
from their parents. No 13-year-old your son is not going to come up to you randomly and just ask you to go to Target to buy swimwear where he can tuck his dingling into so that no one can see it.
no.
So it's like they learn this from somewhere. They don't just come up with it.
Well, once again, you get all these different TV shows. They got all these different people who got most outlandish, craziest shit they've got on them, and they go, "Wow, that guy's famous now." I mean, it's almost that simple nowadays. Like, oh, that person's that. I mean, look at the show Jackass. You think Jackass didn't didn't ingrain themselves into a culture of themselves of people saying, I can do that and I can be famous too. Sweet. And
Lord,
then
that was my middle school, high school days. So it's the amount of dudes jumping off of crap and filming it with video cameras. It was insane.
well, the bad thing is like, going to the wrestling aspect of that, Mick Foley shot a video of him jumping off of his house. Now he's a main now he's a WWE superstar and a Hall of Famer now. So people got the idea, hey, if I fulfill myself jumping off a house, I'll be a superstar too. No, you're not. He just lucked out.
I love Mick Foley though. He's a G. He's
He
the
is.
OG.
But here's the thing though. I mean, he was smart enough. He was smart enough to know when to make those moves, but he was dumb enough to keep doing it, thinking, I gotta keep chasing me being over. Because if I died down, it won't be that great. That's where the sock thing came out, where he would pull the sock out and do
Mr.
Socko
Socko.
because it became a character, and characters work.
Mankind was the shit though. I love Mankind.
Just Mick
That
Foley
was
in
my
general.
era though. Like the Attitude Era, that whole era, that was my childhood. So all those characters, Rikishi, Scotty Too Hottie, freaking you had the Edge and Christian in the very first ladder matches and stuff like that was my that was my childhood.
I remember the first ladder match I saw was WrestleMania 10 with Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon.
I named
And
my little brother after Shawn Michaels. My mom didn't learn that until later though.
well, it was funny because when I started wrestling, because I was so undersized at the time, me just doing a wrestling match wasn't enough. I had to do some crazy shit. So I did a lot of cage matches, did a lot of ladder matches. I'm afraid of heights. I'm totally afraid of heights. But I was stuck doing these matches. I'm like, well, at the time I could bounce off stuff left and right, no problem. I do it now. I mean, every time I step into a wrestling ring now, I'm like going, okay, here goes nothing, and I don't fall and trip or nothing because God forbid, I'm not as young as I used to be. But yeah, it's a different world nowadays.
For sure. Oh, Wiley.
What was I saying?
The parental unit molds the kid. Woke society wants to break the mold into perversions. I mean, definitely, I think that's a 50-50 though. Like, if I'm being honest, I don't think all the woke people want to pervert kids. Because I grew up in California. I'm from California. And I know a lot of these people. And there are definitely the creepos and the ones that want to make pedophilia a gender identity. But then there's the other half of them that are really just kind of lost people. And this is like kind of where that middle ground part of my show comes from. But there's a lot of that really just think like they have convinced themselves in their minds that if they bring kids up in this stuff from a young age, it's going to create this happy society and everyone's going to love each other and understand each other and blah 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 blah, and they think it's going to create that what's that Beatles song, like
Utopia?
yeah, like what's that imagine isn't that the song?
Imagine, yeah.
So that's kind of like what they
That
envision in
wasn't a
their
Beatles song. It was a John Lennon song. It was
well,
a
John
single
Lennon,
song of
close
his, yeah.
enough. But that's kind of like what they think, like if we bring the kids up as these understanding individuals that don't look at people from their outside looks and they see them for who they are on the inside, then we're all going to be happy and we're going to be understanding and we're going to be kind to one another and blah blah blah. And that's kind of where it goes. They're not, I mean, there is a good portion of them that are also this kind of perverted weirdos, but there's another half that I really think are just, and I know some of them personally, that are just really misguided and think that they're going to create some kind of perfect world if they bring these children up with this idea that there's no concrete anything and everything's just fluid and ever changing. But, and I talk about this on my show, that fluidity actually confuses kids and makes things worse. It makes the emotional instability worse. It makes there's no foundation and upon to which to build, the blocks of life, then they're just going to be really confused and never understanding, anything. Everything's just always moving, and that's why you get so lost and you feel so uncomfortable with yourself, and you end up having such, you see the mental health crisis going up in this country because no one knows what anything is anymore.
Well, here's the thing. We've always been a very judgmental society. Okay, it's just. I mean, back in the day, it was based on your color. You're judged based off that alone. Then it was based off your religion. There's we always find reasons to latch on and judge people, and all of a sudden, at some points, go to war with them because of that.
You can go back
Um,
even Roman times. It was, the upper class versus the lower
well,
class, money
right,
versus no money. Like it's always something.
right. So you know, I can understand where there are people who sit and go, "Let's live in a judge-free society," because every time people get judged, we go to war with it, which is stupid. And here's speaking of which, Rome fell.
I mean, I don't disagree with that, Wiley. I just where I think it gets kind of swayed is I don't think all of the woke people are the perverts. I think it's an ideology that has a couple sections to it. There are the pervert section, but there's also just kind of the misguided section of people who really think that the world would be a better place if we just, like Trey said, we're all judgment free. I
Yeah,
think they're
and
just
look,
misguided.
look. I mean, I try to live my life to where I don't want to sit there and judge you because of what I see. I'll judge you based on your actions. I'll judge you based on what you do. But
The way
at the
you treat
same
me.
time, yeah, if you treat me like shit, guess what? I'll treat you just as bad.
Mhm.
Or I'll just look the other way and make you feel like shit, whichever. Because either way, I'll have the last laugh. But when people get so up in arms about it and then want to throw it in your face constantly, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you for? I mean, I get that, but and for those of us who had kids, we've had all of our kids go, look, 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 me. It happens all the time. Get it, but there's a time where you should grow out of that, and that's where the parents, who by the way, not all parents are created equal apparently, so
That's
there
for
are
damn sure.
there are some that are going to sit there and just go, it's okay, you do your thing, you do your thing, don't worry about it. You'll be fine, just don't kill nobody, you'll be all right. And I'm like, well, that's not quite parenting, okay? I mean,
That was
you
kind of
know,
my that was kind of my mom, but I was just a good kid, so my mom really didn't have to worry.
right?
But
I
my mom was
mean,
kind of just like I had the purple hair and everything, and my mom was just kind of like, "All right, like just know that." My mom used to always tell me whenever I do anything, my tattoo, my it's all going back to money and politics for sure. That's definitely true. Wiley. Money has a lot to do with this stuff. Um, or like my purple hair, my tattoo. My mom would always just be like, "Just know you're the one that has to walk out like that."
mhm. MLK had it correct when he said we shall keep the melting pot.
Hey, happy MLK Day. That reminds me.
Yeah, it is. It is. Had a day off yesterday because of it too. Thank you. But look. Here's the thing. I have three kids, two daughters, one son. My oldest daughter, she moved out of our house when she was 17, getting ready to be 18, and finished her senior year in an apartment because she wanted to do that, and she had enough money to do it, and she was grown up enough to do it on her own, and she's a good kid. She's got a boyfriend. She's going to school. She's wanting to go to Belgium to get her master's. I applaud all that for her. I mean, once again, I don't sit there and stand in the way of her dreams and everything else. And I'm always there if she needs me. I mean, even though she doesn't contact me, I'm always there if she needs me. Same thing with my other daughter. Where I may not be the most important person in her life. She's 18 now and she's got a car and she's driving all over the place. And she went to Windstar this past Saturday, which I told her, hey, be careful. I know the rules that are out there, so be careful.
Hmm.
I mean, it's all I can do, right? And parenting doesn't stop. But once again, once they get older, once they get hopefully a little bit wiser, they start to realize, okay, well, maybe that's why I was given these kind of rules by my parents and not do this and that. Once again, I'm not telling them don't get a tattoo. I'm not saying don't get a piercing that's too crazy like. I'm just saying be smart because it's not about today. It's about tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. And whatever choices you make today will impact what you do down the road.
Oh, absolutely.
And with my son, with him having autism and everything else, and him being very simple as far as the way of his life consists of playing computers, watching movies, going to school. That's pretty much all he does. He has very little social interaction when he does. I always find it a way to engage with him in certain conversations because I hated when he would go, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, hey, look, you're not Rain Man, okay? Come on, we have to work on it. I'll ask him, what was your favorite movie out of the four that we saw? I like Forrest Gump better. Why was it because of the voices? Yeah, because you do the voices and the fact that now I gotta pay. Whatever the deal is, right? Okay, cool. What's your second favorite? So you start to engage them. You start to get them to talk back to you. And not every kid will do that. You have to kind of it's like a what do you call it, it's a nut, right? You got to crack the nut up to see what you can get out of it.
Hmm.
And that's what you try to do with any of your kids, because the more they engage with you, the more they'll engage with society. And the more they do that, the more you can help them grow as a human being. When parents sit there and want to and just kind of go, well, you do your thing, you'll be fine.
Hmm.
You'll be fine.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, you know what? If you put the penny in the light socket more than once, you'll find out eventually. Don't worry about that. Don't. I mean, no, you can't quite do that. You have to be careful, but you also have to look. Kids are gonna make mistakes. Kids are gonna do stupid shit. That's just life.
That's part of growing up. But it's your
Yeah,
job as a parent to try and guide them through the mistakes not being permanent mistakes. Like
but
you can take stuff back, or you can build upon it and learn and do better next time.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Character. Yeah, but
but
by the way, I want to point this out. Both my parents have passed away, 2012. So I'm an orphan basically. Um, but I have two of the greatest in-laws in the world. My mother-in-law and my father-in-law, Rick and Toril Solheim, they are the best. And I got to spend some time this weekend. I took my son over to their house on Friday, played cards over there. They, even though I'm not with their daughter right now, they treat me as if I'm still their son. I've always been very, very, cool with them. My father-in-law tried to watch our show, and once he started hearing the F words, he turned it off. But that's fine. I mean, that's his decision. My mother-in-law still wants to watch what we do. She thinks that we actually have a very decent show from what she can tell. And the cool thing is that they're always there for the parent advice that I would still need at age 48 because I don't know everything, and I don't have a parent to go to on a lot of cases, so I go to them.
mhm.
And while they are far different from how my parents were, it's something that once again, this is why I don't have the anger issues I used to have, because I've actually learned to look at things a different way in some cases, and
Yeah.
just like, okay, well, what about this? What if I did this? What if I did that? And it's the same thing with parenting, well, what if I tried this with them, or if I tried that with them? And that's where I think a lot of people can really, because once again, if it's all or nothing in the world that we live in, and social media pushes all that, by the way. I mean, it's
Oh,
either
absolutely. Social media, just media in general, like,
yeah,
news.
yeah. I mean, if you're not far left, you're far right. If you're not far right, you're far left. There's no that middle part of that, like your show's about, right?
And those of
So
us that are in the middle get attacked by both sides.
yeah, and by the way,
The
and
amount of Trumpers that I've had tell me that I have Trump derangement syndrome just because I prefer a different candidate over Trump. I'm
you
like,
have,
no,
you
I
have
don't hate.
TDS.
Yeah, I don't hate Trump. I just like someone else better than him. Now, if he gets the primary nomination, which it looks like he's going to, am I going to vote for him? Yes. I don't despise him, I don't think he's the best. I don't think he's Jesus like some of these people seem to. Like he can do no wrong. Like no, he's done plenty of wrong. Um, but and I think his presidency is just it's just going to be obnoxious. I just see the future being obnoxious. Digital information highway needs traffic control. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Um, because I just see it being like the last time. I just see it being like impeachment after impeachment for stuff that's not even crimes, and him like bailing himself out of jail and pardoning himself because even though he 3 out of the 4 cases he didn't even actually do anything wrong, and then the 4th case he did do it, but so did half of the other politicians before him. So if you're going to get him on it, you need to get like everyone else that's currently alive that's been a president also for it because they've all done it. So it's like you're just creating such awful precedents for the future. Like every time you don't like the other party, you're just gonna bash them and impeach them and charge them with crap, and it's just like it's creating such a spiral. Um, which is where the conservatives have it right. Like they are definitely targeting him. I think it's both because I think there's 2 reasons for it. They really don't like him and they see Trump as beatable. They've beaten him once before, so if they make sure that he gets the nomination, they know every time his court cases are up on the media that it's going to enrage his fans and they're going to run to the ballot box and they're going to vote him in, and they think he's easier to beat than the other primary candidates because they've already done it. I think DeSantis, or even I don't like Nikki Haley, but I think even Haley could sway the independent voters more than Trump can. The independent voters, Jesus Lord, my children, are destroying something behind me. Um, those middle voters, like we were talking about with the Cowboys, like Trump is like one of those you love him or you hate him. There's not very much middle there. And I think that's just kind of what they're doing right now. But the conservatives have a point when they talk about that they're definitely targeting him because like removing him from the ballot right now as a person that is studying law, they have no case. You can't you can take someone off the ballot for insurrection, but he hasn't been indicted or charged with it yet. Like he hasn't actually been convicted, so they have no case. So, and you're going to see the partisanship. They are scared of him because he's upset their whole apple cart. I mean, for sure. I mean, he definitely ruffled some feathers. But
Here's the thing, and both parties are guilty of this too. So I'm
yeah,
not going to sit there and say, well, it's just one.
no,
But
it's definitely both.
the thing is, it's never been about which person can we elect as president that's going to make the country better. It's just become down to what's the one person we can elect that can win. Never mind what you can do for the country, which one can just win and represent our party for at least 4 years. And the thing is, it becomes a popularity contest at that point, and it's who's a better speaker, who excites you more.
Who's
Never
going to get
really,
you better ratings?
yeah. Never mind what you're actually going to do as a president, which should be really the reason why you're being elected.
That's what we were
Is
talking about before. Like politics is supposed to be boring. It's not supposed to be a newscatcher like it is now. Like I think back to like even the Bush presidency, like yeah, there was some stuff on the news because of like Iraq and everything and 9/11, but it wasn't it wasn't anywhere to the scale that it is now where it's like everybody talks about it and it's everywhere. It was not popular like it is now.
well, it's funny because me and Cooper were watching Forrest Gump, right, and we see in the movie how he meets president after president after president. And it was even so funny towards when he got to go meet Nixon. He's like, so I got to meet the president of the United States again. Like it was no big deal to him, right? And it's funny because Cooper's getting like a little lesson here on who the presidents are throughout the movie, you know. and he looked at me. He's like saying, when the moment when Forrest was talking to Richard Nixon, And Nixon's telling him, "Oh, I got a better place you can stay. It's right over here. It'd be no problem." Then he sees the lights and the Watergate thing going off, and then all of a sudden he resigns from presidency. Cooper's like, "Is that what happened?" Like, well, I don't think Forrest actually was there in the place when it happened, but
It's
yeah, it was.
amazing how they were able to like put him in like that though, like the editing.
Oh, I know.
That was mwah, chef's kiss.
The funny thing is, I was goofing around on YouTube last night watching the screen test of that movie with Tom Hanks and Robin Wright, and he was doing the voice as Tom Hanks, which is an entirely different movie because he needed the voice. He needed to find the voice to be Forrest.
He got the voice from the kid.
Yeah,
The
from the
kid
kid.
actually
Yeah,
did the voice first, and then he copied the kid.
and the story he tells about how he found was like he was talking to the kid one day, and his kid says, "So what does your dad do?" "My dad makes grease." "What?" "He grease for like eyebrows and stuff like that." And he's like, "Wow, I found my voice. Very
Mhm.
cool." And I mean, it's a brilliant movie, and once again, I haven't seen it in a long time all the way through, and to see it with him, it's like watching it all over again, and having him laugh when I was laughing. That's kind of where you're gonna go with it. But
You know,
but once again,
the
but once
Jenny
again,
parts hit harder as an adult.
it
Like
does. Well,
you look back, especially as a parent now, like you look at what Jenny went through, and you're like, oof.
not so much that, but just when his mom was dying in the middle of the movie, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm like, that hit hard for me because I've seen both my parents go. So and I never had a parent look at me and go, "I'm dying, Trey. It's okay." I never had that, but like she knew this is her time, and just
You would learn to accept it, I think, when you get to that point for most
yeah.
people.
But like she was just like Sally Fields was wide open when we go, "I'm dying, Forrest. It's okay. It's my time. I'm good." Well, I'm going okay. If only life was that simple, right? But yeah, it was a brilliant movie, and it still holds up to this day. We came out damn near 30 years ago, and it still holds up. So
Oh, before the end of the episode, because we're already nearing
we're about
10
8
o'clock
minutes
here.
left. Yeah,
You said you had a correction to make on your story about your sister meeting your
yeah,
dad.
yeah. Okay, I talked about my sister Laura and how she came to know my dad. Well, I was wrong about how the whole thing started. Her mom, Diane, contacted her and says, "Your dad is still alive. Um, I still have his mother's phone number if you want me to call her." She called, and that got the ball rolling. So it wasn't that Laura called her because she had no idea. It was her mom that made the phone call. So that's a slight correction on my part. But
I
but
love that she called you and corrected you, though.
no, I call her. I call her to see if she heard it. So like, yeah, I heard and you were wrong. I'm like, oh, my bad. Oops.
That was fun, though. I'm gonna enjoy doing that every Friday. Just bringing up those old pictures and those memories. Those are fun.
Yeah, well, and of course, I mean, that's what the show is supposed to be, just fun for you and me. As we'll kick back, we'll talk sports, politics, whatever we talk about. It's whatever interests us. And yes, I know Wiley's going to sit there and be grateful that I'm going to sit there and be stuck talking politics or whatnot. But but hey, look, I got no problem talking about it. I have a hard time talking about it when it's only one way
Yeah.
because politics is a two-way street,
Mhm.
and it could be too far left, too far right, but if we get it towards where we want to get it towards, it'd be a better place. Once
It's
again, we
easier
got
to talk about it if it's two people that are willing to talk about it. Nowadays,
right.
a lot of people aren't even willing to have the conversations.
Well, because the instant turnoff is like you sit down and go, God, Biden's an asshole. Trump's the way to go. Okay, your mind's already kind of made up, hasn't it? I mean, that's just okay. If that's what you think, that's great. But once again, there's a lot more to that than just what you just said. If you want to
All
summarize
that
it,
gray area, man, I'm telling you.
yeah. Let's see here in about 20 years. Hey, look, I'm looking for the AI version to go to work for me today. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I want the AI
AI
version to go to
creeps
me.
me out. That reminds me, Trey, you need to hurry up and watch iRobot so that we can discuss AI because that movie is what ruined AI for me for forever. Like I won't even do like Snapchat and Facebook and everything. Google, like it all has an AI or a Bing chat box or whatever. Now I refuse to do any of them. I don't use any of them because that movie scarred me.
Okay.
You gotta watch it. It's great. It's Will Smith at his
I
prime before Jada
put
ruined
that
him.
shit crazy. All right. Well, anyway, let's
We gotta talk about our other shows.
Yeah, before we do that, real quickly, you can follow us at Facebook at the Daily Grind. That's how you're kind of watching us right now, actually. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube. Best way to type in Daily Grind Trey, and you'll see our picture. Best way to find us. That's how I found us, because there's there's a Daily Grind out there right now that is just. It's one girl and her daily grind. That's all it is.
It's literally her at the sink washing her face and shit every day.
Yeah. So that's not us. Also, we're now on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram at _daily_grind_.
Instagram made me work for it, man. There was a lot of daily grind accounts and I had to get creative.
TikTok is mainly AI.
TikTok, yeah. I'm like, I think that's what he meant, TikTok.
Yeah.
I barely use TikTok.
I've tried to, and it didn't do it for me.
Well, I got freaked out because there was a medical thing, like a study that was showing that kids were getting like tremors and tics from it, from the constant scrolling and the flashes. It was giving people like tics, and so I was like, no, like, I'm good.
Also, go check out tomorrow the Middle Ground with Presley Christine drops on YouTube and on Spotify.
New episode. We're talking gender transitions for minors. It's gonna be spicy.
Also, she has another show called Fit Trends.
Catch up on old episodes. Me and Karen are still working out the kinks on our scheduling. She's a mama of 6 and a registered nurse, so sometimes, and then I have my twins in law school, so sometimes getting together is a little more difficult, but we have like over 30 episodes on there, so if you want to catch up on the old stuff while we're making our new stuff, there's plenty there.
Check out Tailgate Talk Thursday, our final show for the year, as the Dallas Cowboys are no more. So we are going to, me and my buddy Jason Collins, we're going to sit there and talk the finale of the Dallas Cowboys season this Thursday. You can catch that show on the Offshoots Network. And, of course, on Thursday as well, you can catch Offshoots TV, which I don't know why Wally's message is still there. There you go. Anyway, go check us out. Me, Michael McCurdy, the Lord Billy Hills, Omega, Tommy Two Wheels will all be a part of that show one way or the other. And hopefully my wife will keep up because the mom was going batshit crazy on his last show. But, yeah, go check us out. We talk wrestling and whatever else entertains us, really. And, of course, check us out on the Offshoots Network for clips of those shows. We dropped one today, which was actually a fun little segment we talked about. I don't remember what it is now because it's been so long since I posted it. So, anyway, just go check it out. A lot of fun. We had over 2,000 views on one 3-minute clip we did. So, clearly, I think the clip we posted today was
that Triple H's announcement, right? You were talking about?
Yeah, and the one today has Tony Khan gone batshit crazy yet? Because apparently he went nuts on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called. So, all about Jinder Mahal, too. So, anyway, who, by the way, Jinder Mahal is a great worker. The fact that he gets kind of shelved the way he does is really a crime. But anyway, that's going to do it for the Daily Grind this week, or today. That being said, I'm so out of the loop. I want to go back to bed.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. We'll do it all again tomorrow. And let me find my credits, and here we be.